Hello everyone and welcome to another custom figure showcase, and today we're going to be doing another Dalek custom, and this is my second redesign of the Paradigm Daleks. Now some of you may remember quite a while back, I'll put a link to it in the description, that I did do a redesign of the Paradigm Daleks, and it was basically much more squat. The back part this part was much more flush. It had the new series neck rings and a new series dome with smaller classic style lights on it. And I was very pleased with how it came out. It looked quite good, but the more I look at it, or the more I looked at it, it looked a bit too squat, and there was something about it which I didn't like. And the more I looked at the Paradigm Daleks, and the more I still look at them, I think they're not overly a bad design. But there are some small things about them that I think could be changed and could be made better that would keep them looking like the Paradigm Daleks. They would look like new Daleks, but they would still be better looking than they were before. And so that was the idea of this. I wanted to update the Paradigm Daleks by updating them as little as possible. And so that's what I've tried to do for this. And so literally all I've done for this is I have swapped over the bigger eye stalk for a much smaller version. I'll try and get it a bit closer to the camera so you can see. For basically this is just a new series eye stalk that I've just repainted and obviously given it the newer Paradigm style eye. That's literally what I've done for that. Obviously I've shortened the base as well because I wanted the base to look like not necessarily like a classic Dalek. I wanted it to have the shorter, thinner feel of the standard bronze Daleks, but I still wanted it to have that kind of bigger movie style feel. And so I thought the best way of doing that is not to change the shape of it overall, but just to make it a bit thinner. And basically this is now a couple of millimeters thicker than the standard skirt on a normal bronze Dalek, but it's still slimmer than the previous one. And again, I think it looks good because it just sort of makes the Daleks look a bit less big and bulky without making them look too squat. And then the other thing that I've done, which is something that I think they should have done from the beginning, was if I come around to the back, I have added on a back panel, which now means that, you know, the Dalek doesn't have the huge great vent at the back. And obviously the original reason for the big vent was, the idea was that out of this vent it would sort of flip out or come out, and then they would swap up and have different weapons that would come out and around along the side, and they would be able to swap out like the gunstick weapons and things like that. Now, what I like about doing it this way is you could still have that as part of the design. There's nothing to say that this panel doesn't, you know, if that's the back of the Dalek, that it doesn't sort of come out at that angle and then a new weapon swipes up and can be swapped around. You could still have that as a feature of the Dalek, but it means that you haven't got this huge, great, stick out, bulky panel at the back. And it just means that, again, it just has that bit more of that Dalek look to it. Now, the other thing that I've done, which is actually quite difficult to capture on camera, but they did metallic versions in later series. Most notably, it was in Asylum of the Daleks. They did metallic versions of the blue Daleks and the red Daleks, and I love the metallic look. I think that's what they were missing. But what I didn't like about the red one specifically was how dark the metallic was. It looked a bit too dark to me. And the other thing I've just done as well while we're talking about colour scheme is I've obviously painted all of these spheres black as well, rather than the standard gunmetal grey, because I thought the black looked a bit more imposing. But yeah, they had much darker metallic colours, and something about it just didn't sit right. It didn't look right to me. So what I did for this is actually, and you can kind of see it, you can kind of see the shine on it, this is the same red tone underneath, but with a metallic glittered tint to it, and it does make it look a bit more metallic. It still retains, again, it's hard to capture on camera, unfortunately, but it still retains the big sort of bright red colour, but it has a nice metallic look to it, and it looks much more metal in terms of a Dalek. Now, obviously, in recent, well, I say recent years, not in that many recent years, but in sort of Matt Smith's later series, Series 7 onwards, the Paradigm Daleks became a sort of officer class Dalek because they were bigger, they were more imposing than the Bronze Daleks. And what I like about this redesign, and I've got some examples here, is this could still work as an officer class Dalek, because I'm going to bring in here a standard Bronze Dalek, and you can see that he's still bigger, bulkier than a standard Bronze Dalek. But what I also have here is I have the red Supreme Dalek model, and if I put that to one side, you can see that he's still the red Dalek. I have to excuse this is on a box. I'm going to have to fix these slightly, hold these slightly, but you can see that the Paradigm Dalek is still sort of quite smaller and a bit more squat compared to the Supreme Dalek, and I think that's what makes these a good officer class Dalek, as it were, is that it does mean that you've got a bit more, you've got a sort of structuring in between. You know, these do look like good Daleks overall, but they were just sort of, I don't think they were, it was a good idea that was poorly executed, and I think that bringing back the Paradigm Daleks is not a bad idea, but they do need to be redesigned and have a bit more of a classic Dalek look to them. And like I said, the idea with this was my original redesign. I looked at it and I changed far too much about it, and as good as it looked, it just changed so much that it just didn't look good anymore to me. But the more that I looked at the Paradigm Daleks, and one of the things that I did first of all actually with this was I did a very simple, I think I put this on my Twitter, some of you may have seen it, I did a very simple edit of a Paradigm Dalek that was just lowering the base. That was all I did. And it was amazing how much difference that made, just lowering the base of the Dalek, making it smaller like this. And so that's basically where this idea started, as I thought, well, how can I update the Paradigm Daleks with minimal work done to them? And this was the final outcome, and I really think it has worked well, because as I said, it still retains such a fantastic Dalek look. It has a brilliant classic Dalek look, but it is also brand new. And I know some people have said, like, because they do resemble more sort of Dead Planet Daleks, you know, or you put them in the Dead Planet colours, classic colours. I really don't think it works. I know it's something that a lot of people want to see, but I really don't think it works. I think the classic Daleks need to stay the classic Daleks, and the new Daleks need to stay the new Daleks. You could have colour schemes inspired by them. For example, my redesign of the Bronze Daleks, again, I'll put a link in the description. That is inspired by the grey Renegade Daleks, but also the Death to the Daleks. And again, I think it looks good because it's not a direct copy. It's something that is slightly different. And I think it's the same here. This is got the styling of a Dead Planet Dalek, but it's got an overall different look. And you know, I think as with many things, what I've learned from doing this is, if you want to update a design, you want to change a design, the smaller changes you can make to make something look better, the better, as it were. As I said, all I've done for this is repaint, smaller base, different eye, and new back panel, and that's it. You know, I think it's worked. I think it has worked very well. Before I go, because this is the end of this video now, because I've ranted on for quite a while about this. Before I go, I do have another redesigned Paradigm Dalek coming next week in a live, or next week in the next 2 weeks, as a live from the workshop. It is not redesigned in the same way, but it is an example of how I think, again, with minimal redesigning, the Paradigm Daleks could be updated to look far better. And also how they could be updated very minimally and still retain a great element in the classic series. That's very cryptic of me, what I've just said, but it all will be revealed. Obviously, some of you actually may have already seen this on my Instagram, so there's a teaser for you for those who haven't. But as always, that brings to a close my redesigned Paradigm Dalek. So, as always, which I've now said twice, like, favourite, subscribe, share. It really helps me out a lot. And be sure to check out the description below for a link to my Patreon. There is an exclusive webcomic and rewards for people who support it, and the funding generated by my Patreon helps me fund future videos. I hope you all enjoyed this video because I just missed saying that. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon.